All right, everyone. I am seeing a couple minutes after 5. If anyone jumps off, we can get them up to speed. I am Cassandra Duffy. I'm the borough administrator. I'm assuming you guys have received the letter, and Tim is our borough engineer, and we have Amy Henderson Riley on with us, who's one of our borough commissioners. And we are going to do a quick overview just for folks who don't know. Collingswood does as much possible public outreach on infrastructure projects, especially those that will impact, your traffic, your driveways, those sorts of things. This is a water main replacement, so that falls into that category. So we've collected you here to sort of talk about the project, which is not a huge lift, but you'll see it happening in front of your homes or behind your homes. If you have neighbors that are not on this, you guys are all the ambassadors for the project. So feel free to share that information when you talk to folks. Otherwise, Tim and I are always available to people. And I'm sure Tim will stress this as well. If you have questions or concerns about the project, we actually recommend that you reach out to a borough official rather than a contractor on the project who may or may not have the most up-to-date information. So that being said, and introductions being made, thank you all for being here. Like I mentioned, it's a water main replacement in accordance with WQAA, which requires that we replace a certain amount of, it's actually 1/150th of water line per year. Tuck that fact away for Quizzo. And I'm going to turn it over to Tim, who'll give like the more technical overview of the project. Unless you want to say something, Amy, I apologize. Okay.
No,
Take it away, Tim.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, Cass pretty much put it all together in a nutshell. The project is a water main replacement on Chelsea Avenue. It goes from South Newton Lake Drive in Collingswood up Chelsea, hangs to the left on Lee's Lane, and then follows Chelsea on the Haddon Township side, which is basically the alley that serves the backyards to Mansion and Lakeshore Drive, and then turns up to Mansion and actually connects to the opposite side of Mansion where we replaced that main 10 to 15 years ago. So in Chelsea and in the lane, we'll generally be in the roadway just up against the curb line. On Lee's Lane, that roadway's concrete, so we'll be more in the grass strip on the sidewalk side before we cross over into the road. So there might be a little bit more disruption as far as driveways or sidewalk access there. The contractor is Gemini Construction. They're a very good contractor. We had met with them just this past week, I guess. They're looking to get started with layout on Monday. They hope to be in and out within a couple weeks. There are, there's going to be some minor disruption of traffic. Sections of the roadway will be closed to local traffic only. So you should be able to get in and out for the most part. When we get into the lane itself, when I say lane, I mean Chelsea Avenue. Behind the houses is obviously a little bit tighter back there. So that access may be a little more restricted. The contractor will give you door hangers or notices when that disruption will happen. So you should know at least a few days in advance when you might have to get your cars out of the way or whatnot. We'll be working with police and fire to make sure access is available there. Same thing with Public Works as far as trash and recycling. Those will get picked up on normal days.
I got a question. Do you want me to hold my questions to the end, or do you want me to ask them as you move along?
Let me get through like one more minute, and then let me field them just so let me stay in rhythm. So there will be some disruption to your water service. You will be notified when that will happen. We hope that will only be maybe an hour or two at the most, but all best plans, right? So the roadway will be stabilized each day, so you'll be able to get back in on the road or the alley or the driveways after each day. Ultimately, the trench of the main is going to be restored with final pavement. Lee's Avenue was just paved, I guess, last year, so that intersection will be paved completely again. And then when we do the tie-ins on Lee's Lane, there's concrete work there within the roadway, so that'll need some time to cure, to set up. So there might be a little bit more protection there. It'll also include your water services. So each home will get a new water service. That will be from the main to the curb stop. Now, if there may be an instance where there is a water service that is an outdated material that needs a different approach, you may be contacted for that. There may be some more work that needs to be done on that individual water service. Okay, so with that, I think I hit everything. Cass, you want to double check me?
I mean, I think those are the broad enough points that we can open it up to some
Well,
Q&A.
one last thing. Again, Borough Engineer for Collingswood. So with Remington and Vernick, we will have field staff on site for supervision. I asked that if you have any issues on the site, please talk to them first. They'll have a yellow safety vest with the RVE on the back. My information, Cass, I assume we'll put this on the project's site, on the website. So my information should be there. If you need to contact me directly, I'm pretty good with email, but I get a lot. So try to respond as soon as I can. My phone number will be on there as well. And just with anything, if something really goes sideways, feel free to call the police department non-emergency number, and they'll make sure to get out there right away. But obviously, we don't expect anything with the contractor that we have. All right, I think that's everything. So
Yeah, and to back up your statement, we're going to make the Zoom available on the project's information center, which I will update with both your email and my email, and then I'll share that link in this chat. It's on collingswood.com. Tim and I are very, very accessible, as is Amy, who will kick stuff to us if she gets questions. And I also just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for tuning in on such short notice. In the world of government infrastructure work, we don't often get contractors that want to mobilize in 2 weeks. So we work very quickly to collect everyone, and we really appreciate it because it's a good opportunity to move through this work as we have a couple open projects. So I will update that page and put it in the chat, and I'm comfortable with taking questions. So if you guys have specific questions, just one at a time, please.
Yeah, I have some questions. So my name's Steve Purcell. I'm at 915. I'm down at not the Lee's end, the other end, where we've had a number of really deep sinkholes. Like one was like a 10-foot square, probably 10 feet deep hole at one point. I was out there with my fishing rod just for a joke. This was some years ago, and then some others. So I'm glad this is getting done. It's super, finally. So here's my questions. You mentioned, Tim used the word curb line. We don't have curbs that I'm aware of. We have grass that meets the road. And therefore, it is not a straight line of where the property lines end on the road.
are you on Lakeshore? Which you said 915?
No, I'm in the back. I got to my back alley. I'm on Lakeshore, yes.
915 Lakeshore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I say curb line more on the Collingswood side.
What does that mean, Collingswood side?
Of the South Newton Lake Drive side, I guess I'll say Lee's Avenue side will be up against the curb line. Once we get into the alley there, obviously it's a little bit tighter. The main now runs on one side. This will just be put on the other side. Yes, there's no curb there. We would straighten the edge of that trench as best as possible to accommodate the existing condition. And you're right. I mean, one of the reasons that this was selected to be done is because of the number of breaks and issues that were happening back there, and the difficulty for our water department to maintain in that.
Yeah, you guys were out here a lot. But so here's the issue, at least on my particular house and maybe others. So I have Belgian block. I have my hedges in the back. Then I have about 1.5 feet of land, which have wood chips on them. And then I have Belgian blocks, and then I see the road.
Okay.
So now here's the problem. Are you going to asphalt up to the edge of the outside of that Belgian block? Am I going to have to remove the Belgian block? Am I going to have to remove the wood chips and the dirt underneath them up against the hedges? That's question number one.
So no, you won't need to remove or move anything. The contractor is required to restore everything to its initial or pre-existing condition. If you
Uh-huh.
have if you have concerns with the way things have been restored, I'd be happy to meet you out there and make sure that
Yeah.
things get restored to how
Yeah.
to your satisfaction. But we would try to stay away from having to disrupt any of your block
Well,
work or anything like that.
because then so I have blocks on the hedges. On the other side of the driveway, I have bricks. So if you or I don't move the bricks, then that asphalt is not going to go underneath those bricks. It's going to the edge of the bricks, which is then an incomplete
So
asphalt job.
why don't you and I meet out there
All
maybe
right.
end of next week to
Okay.
see
Yeah, let's do that.
how best to address that.
Okay, second question, and I apologize if what I'm saying has nothing to do with anybody else. I don't know how else to do this. So, okay, you mentioned hook up to home pipe. So I have the pipe that goes from my home out to the main. And I noticed that both on the outside by the hedge, somebody painted a green line, and then they came onto my property, which was fine, a little unusual without asking me, but came into my property and put a green line on the little metal plate that's on the
Mhm.
lawn. In between those two green lines are my hedges. Now, I don't know what the purpose of putting the green line on the plate was. I'm concerned that they are going to do some digging there and destroy the hedge where they do that.
Yeah, so anytime that we excavate into the ground, I think beyond, geez, can give me here, just a few inches, we're required to, or the contractors are required to call for a utility markout. That has to be done just a few days in front of when they actually plan to dig. That's marked out through the whole site. And each utility is responsible to mark their 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 facilities. So the green line is sanitary sewer. The green plate is your clean out or your
Yeah,
vent or whatever
right.
that is. So
Yes.
it's pretty typical for them to mark those.
Okay.
We're not doing anything with sewer with this project. It'll be more for the contractor to understand where that's at, and when they get within a certain distance of excavating, they need to take particular care and even hand dig around those to make sure it doesn't get hit.
So the pipes that you're replacing are water pipes, not sewage
That's
pipes?
water.
Water. So I don't know what was rupturing all these years.
We
Was it
definitely had water main breaks back
what
in back in
uh,
that lane.
not
Yes.
sewage breaks?
I'm not,
Water.
I can't say to be
Well,
specific,
because
but
here's
definitely
here's
water.
the issue. I mean, you're digging up the road. I mean, it would to me, I don't know nothing about this, but it seemed to me that it would be a good opportune time to take a look at the sewer pipes as well as the water pipes, rather than doing all your work and then we have to go dig up the road a second time to deal with the sewage.
A different,
I
I don't know if can you hear me? Steve?
We can.
Ken,
yeah, I hear you.
a couple down from you. I'll help you out. All those breaks have been in the water line since they're practically in my backyard. They're all
Who am I talking to?
Ken
All
Landis.
Okay, hi, Ken.
All right. The sewage line is Haddon Township.
Yeah,
Water lines are Collingswood. When this
Yeah.
place was built back in the late 40s, early 50s, all of our houses were built together. That's when they laid the lines down. Now, we are Haddon Township, and we call it the lane, by the way. The lane is in the Haddon Township section, and the avenue is over in Collingswood on the other side of Lee's Lane. The question I have that affects probably Steve, but not so much him, but I'm the last house on the lane, 919. If there's a swale in the lane right behind 915, I think it is, and that swale was put in so that it moves the stormwater across off of the lane and into the storm sewer. if it's not there and you guys are gonna, if you're running pipes and you're gonna dig it up, I want to make sure that you're not planning to tear that up, because if you tear it up and don't replace it, all the stormwater is going into my garage.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, Ken, familiar with that swale. And if it is disturbed, we will make sure that it gets put back as it was.
Great. Now the other question I have, are you on the, well, I have a couple of them, but the on the width of the lane over on the avenue, you got the curb setting it up. On the lane, there's nothing that says this is the lane. It goes, wobbles in and out and does all kinds of things. Are you going to pave to the property lines or just strictly stay on the macadam that's there now?
It would just be the width of the trench that's excavated for the pipe.
Oh, you're not going to replace, you're not going to re-macadamize the whole lane.
Just the trench.
Have you
Oh,
looked
no.
at the damn lane?
That's a mess.
Have
Well,
you
that's
looked?
that's
I mean,
something we would have to.
if you're gonna have the macadam, I assume they're gonna put the macadam down asphalt. I'm sorry, I'm been used to calling it macadam my whole life.
Yes, sir, asphalt.
They put the asphalt down just in the lane. It's not gonna fix a whole bunch of the problems along the street. And since I assume they're gonna put it down, the asphalt down with a spreader, an asphalt spreader.
So, we can reach out to Haddon Township. I mean, the lane is on their side, so maybe it's an opportunity for them to participate in getting this thing paved. So
I want to jump in here. I've been here not as long as Ken, because he's been here since who was a corporal, but
55 years.
thank you. So, but I keep on
That's why I left Collingswood.
over and over and over again. Whenever there's a problem, I hear from the Haddon Township people, oh, that's Collingswood's responsibility. Collingswood, oh, that's Haddon Township's responsibility. And here I feel like, once again, there was not a effort to rope both parties in for a singular project that hits a single road. And I'm just throwing that out there. So we've had a lot of patches down by Ken's area and my area. And I can tell you, people bottom out their cars there frequently. And if you're not going to tar, I mean, really deep, also enough to be like a safety problem for kids on bicycles, deep ruts, besides cars bottoming out. If you're not going to tar from left to right, you haven't fixed the road. You may have fixed
Right,
the
well,
sewers.
just so you know so it's a funny area because it's Collingswood's water service in Haddon
Yeah.
Township.
That's right.
So you do have some overlap, but the project is not a road project. The focus of the project is a water main project. Now, there's always an opportunity for overlap. This is not happening for the WQAA project. Road resurfacing would be a separate project here. I'm not denying that the road's in bad shape. What I'm saying is the scope of the project that was awarded is a water main project. So
Well,
the conversation of resurfacing is a different conversation. And if you have questions about responsibilities, give me an email and I'll look at the tax maps and let you know. Yep, this is a project that Haddon Township would take if it's a resurfacing. Yep, it's a project.
Well, it's a little late. It's a little late to rope them in.
Well, I understand, but the project we're talking about now is a water main project. So it's
Yeah, so
that's
what-
the
so what-
focus of this
so-
project.
So what I envision is you're going to dig a trough, pull out the old pipe, put in a new pipe, fill in the trough, asphalt the area that's been disturbed. And to the left and to the right of that trough, we're going to be left now with the same old ruts and perhaps even now a new unlevel surface, because every time you patch, it's not with zero, height or
Sure,
depth. So driving wise, safety wise, convenience wise, for aesthetic wise, you've actually made it worse for us. The sewers are better, but the road is going to be worse as I see it. I mean,
Well,
I think you guys,
Why don't we?
I
why don't
appreciate what
we-
you're doing. Hang on one second. I appreciate what you're doing, but I think that the Haddon Township had to be brought into this so we can do a comprehensive job and not, well, we'll do our part and maybe someday the other one will do theirs. And our part, by the way, may actually degrade your road surface. It's not cool.
Okay, well, a road resurfacing project after the fact is not out of the question. It's just a different project at this point.
Oh, I get the verbiage of that, but it still leaves
Okay.
me with a road. It leaves me with a road that is potentially, and I think probably, going to be in worse shape than before you started. And as a
Okay.
taxpayer, I think that's really, really, really wrong, bad and wrong.
You're not a taxpayer as far as they're concerned. You're a ratepayer. You're paying
Right.
for the water service.
Right.
Right, and certainly Tim and our engineering team and our inspection team will do the work of inspecting to make sure the road surface is returned to its best possible condition. It's not a resurfacing project, but part of the project is going to be making sure the road surface is in the best possible condition after this water main project.
Tim, can I ask you another question on something you said?
Yes, sir.
The pipe runs right down the middle or one side of the lane or the other? The current pipe.
So a mansion, when you come into the lane, it's on more so on the right-hand side.
As you're coming down the hill, I thought
Yeah.
that one was that pipe was replaced a few years ago.
We replaced when we did mansion, and I think it was a little bit more than a few now. We came down, but I don't think we came all the way, Ken.
Okay.
But
Go
so
ahead.
like I said, but with you guys' concerns, I'm more than happy to meet you out there to walk through it and see what can be done as part of the utility project.
Tim, I have one more thing. I'm sorry. Then I'm done. So, when you guys were out here during one of the big sinkholes, the edge of my driveway was damaged, and my neighbor's driveway was damaged. Now, what I did was I put down concrete as a quick fix. So I need that, but I hear what you're saying. It's not a road surface problem, although the damage was caused when sewer work was done. So how are we going to handle that?
Sewer is not what they're talking about. They're talking
I meant water. I'm sorry. When the water project was done, the driveway.
Well, I'm not familiar with
driveways
exactly your driveway repair, but again, I'm more than happy to meet you out there to
All
see
right.
what I can
So
do
Tim,
within the
do I have your
parameters of
number
this
here
project.
someplace,
Cass, you want to put it in the?
please?
Sure. What number do you prefer?
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how to use this thing. Oh, there you go. Here you got my email.
There you go.
Where are we at?
I got it.
Look in the chat, I guess. Where am I looking?
Yeah.
Tim,
And she's got my she's
Okay.
got my email and my phone
Thank you.
numbers.
Tim, do you know which side is the current water supply pipe on the Lakeshore Drive side of the lane or on the Mansion Avenue side of the lane? Do you know?
Say that one more time, Ken.
There's the current water supply pipe. It's
I follow.
Is it in the center of the lane? Is
Yeah,
it
let me,
left or right, or is it?
I should have
where
had
it
the
is?
plan set. Give me 1 second.
I'll give you two.
All right. You can ask another question while I'm pulling this up.
Or does anybody else have a question while Tim's looking that up? Does anybody else anybody else have any specific questions?
Hi, Elaine Neely and we live on South Newton Lake Drive. And our parking, there are about eight of us that are drivers. We park in a private lane parallel to South Newton Lake Drive. Elaine received a flyer today saying that the work would begin on Monday. And so we're wondering, are we going to have access in and out of our driveway to go to work? Some of us start doing that about 6 o'clock in the morning. Others are later and throughout the day. And then also back in, or are we going to need to park somewhere else and get a permit for like on Newton Lake Drive in order to park overnight there? And also, would electric be disrupted? So there are some folks on our lane that are working from home.
So good questions. So work hours, I should have mentioned that, but work hours are usually 7 a.m. to nowhere past 4 p.m. unless we have to extend the workday where it makes sense for a typical stopping period. So there really shouldn't be any issue for you to get in or out. If they're directly in front of your house and the equipment's there, it might be difficult to park on the street. So in that case, we'd ask you to kind of park down the block or around the corner. The project site should be, stable and secure at the end of each day. So there shouldn't be a problem with you going back on the street, once the work is done. You said private lane? What? I'm not sure.
Yes.
What's your address? I'm sorry.
So I'm 628 South Newton Lake Drive, and there are 8 of us that are parking in a private lane that is parallel to what is Lakeshore Drive becomes South Newton Lake Drive.
You come in off of Chelsea?
We come in off of Chelsea. And if that is blocked, you've got 8 different drivers that might not be able to get in and
Oh,
out.
yeah. So the work itself is going to be should be across the street from on the other side of the curb line from that. So unless we're directly in front of there, you should be able to get in and out. And even then, the construction crew should be mindful, and our inspectors will be mindful to make sure to make sure they're aware that there's that many individuals back there. So I'll make sure to drop them a note on that.
Do you anticipate electric being disrupted for those that
No, there
work
should be
from home?
no disruption to electric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ready for me again?
Well, unless you're going to ask me about the plans, I don't have yet.
Anyone
Well,
else?
I do have one problem. Real problem. My wife has Parkinson's,
Mhm.
and as a consequence, we have to use the water on a daylight until like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, from 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. How are we going to avoid disrupting?
So, Ken, answer your
I
original
can't hear
question.
you. You turned your volume down.
To answer your original question, the new water main will be put in on the Mansion Avenue side of the lane.
Is that where it is now?
No, it would be right now. It should be to the other side.
So you're going to be, you are going to take out the old pipe, right?
Typically, that's abandoned in place.
Oh, okay. So that answers that. That means you don't have any problem at all, Steve.
No, I'm sorry. Explain to me the water usage issue. I heard, sorry to
My
hear about
wa-
your wife.
My wife has Parkinson's.
Okay.
Parkinson's disease,
Yes.
advanced Parkinson's disease. So I have to get her to the bathroom, out of the bathroom, clean, and I never know when that's going to be. That's,
Right.
1 minute it is, the next minute it isn't.
Ken, what was your address again? I'm sorry.
919, the last one with the big silver truck there looking at you.
So let me see what can be done there. I mean, it's very difficult to not have any outages of water. It could be possible for us to provide you a temporary service when we change over to make that window as tight as possible. Maybe try to get that from hours down to minutes. But let me talk to them about that.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Of course.
I talked to the superintendent of the Collingswood Water. I'm wondering if this is going to cut down on the turbidity we have of the water. Is
So,
it coming from that pipe, or is it coming from the whole system?
well, I mean, obviously there's system issues. But to your original point, this is the original main that was there. There's also no main on the Collinswood side between Lee's Ave and Leeds Lane. So anytime we do improvements like this and we're able to add sections of main that provide for a loop for circulation of water, you should see improved quality of water. But again, there's disruptions that, when hydrants are flushed and things like that, it disrupts the system and causes issues for a period of time. So long term, this should be an improvement that you'll see.
Because my filter doesn't look good.
Understand.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Let me know when you're going to be there, by the way, will you? When you're
You
going
mean
to,
to like meet on site?
well, yeah, when he wants to do it, I can generally speaking, I can make my, I was going to say, you got the word, but I'm just an old guy and I'm retired. So, but
You promised you weren't going to swear, Ken.
I promised, I didn't do it.
Yeah, Tim will coordinate a time that works for anybody that needs to meet on site. So,
Okay.
Can we just come to an agreement right now? What time, Tim, you'll be out here on Monday? And
It's not gonna be Monday.
it's not, so
So we can agree on that.
okay.
How about lunchtime on Tuesday?
Who's lunchtime?
Noon.
you're right.
Universal
I'm like a
lunchtime.
hobbit. I ate at 11 o'clock. So,
Okay.
Let me just look at just because I'm old, don't work, doesn't mean I don't have it. I can work that in. Good.
Good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Works great. Thanks.
great. Thank you. Ultimately, it's a good project. All infrastructure projects are a, short-term pain for a long-term gain, hopefully. So we appreciate your patience as the project progresses. We are available to everybody. There's always little hiccups and bumps and questions, so do not hesitate to reach out to us. And hopefully we stay on track. And we're, like we said, it's a pretty quick project as far as projects are concerned. So hopefully it's a very short-term pain for a very long-term gain. Again, feel free to share this information with your neighbors, who I'm sure will have questions, especially if they, were not aware and they tend to all of a sudden when the truck starts showing up having questions, we're here for them as well. So, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you for fielding questions.
Take care.